Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Jaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnana-anjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nitinamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा रीडिंग फ्रॉम Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 15, Description of the Kingdom of God. So this is the description of Vaikuṇṭha. Very beautiful chapter. So we are migrating from now material world to the spiritual world. And we are going to see what's happening in Vaikuṇṭha at that time. So again, time is in the material world, but contemporary, what's happening there, and how there is appearance of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, and then to deliver them and deliver the devotees from them, there is appearance of Varahadev and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narasimhadev, in these two incarnations, later at the 7th canto. So this chapter is divided into 5 sections. So section 1 is text 1 to 11, where we see that demigods are going to praise Brahmaji. From 12 to 25, there is a description of Vaikuṇṭha. Very beautiful description. And while doing so, 26 to 36, the Kumaras, the Chatushkumar, they are trying to enter the Vaikuṇṭha, who are checked by Jaya and Vijaya. So Kumaras, they curse Jaya and Vijaya. Taking this curse of the Kumaras personally on himself, the Supreme Lord personally appears there, Sri Viṣṇu, and he begs for the forgiveness from the Kumaras. And that this is how he gives darshan to the Kumaras. So that is between 37 to 45 and 46 to 50 prayers by Chatushkumar. Okay, so this is how these are the 5 sections of this beautiful chapter. 1 to 11, demigods praising Brahmaji. 12 to 25, there is a description of Vaikuṇṭha. 26 to 36, text. Chatushkumar, they curse the two Dwarapal, Jai and Vijay. 37 to 45, section 4, Lord gives darshan to the Kumaras. Very beautiful discussion between the Lord and the Kumaras. And finally, 46 to 50, prayers of the Chatushkumar, they are offering to the Supreme Lord. So we continue here. Maitreya uvacha prajapatya tu tatteja parate johanam diti dadhara varshani shatam shankamana surardanat. Translation?
Sri Maitreya said, "My dear Vidura, Diti, the wife of the sage Kashyapa, could understand that the sons within her womb would be a cause of disturbance to the demigods. As such, she continuously bore the powerful semen of Kashyapa Muni, which was meant to give trouble to others, for 100 years. Purport: the great sage Sri Maitreya was explaining to Vidura the activities of the demigods, including Lord Brahma. When Diti heard from her husband that the sons she bore within her abdomen would be causes of disturbances to the demigods, she was not very happy. There are two classes of men, devotees and non-devotees. Non-devotees are called demons and devotees are called demigods. No sane man or woman can tolerate the non-devotees giving trouble to the devotees. Diti therefore was reluctant to give birth to her babies. She waited for 100 years so that at least she could save the demigods from the disturbance of for that period. Hare Krishna.
The sage Maitreya, he continued that Diti, she could understand that the personalities in the womb, they are going to be causing destruction all across the universe and giving great troubles to the demigods. So Diti, naturally being very kind-hearted, she wanted to postpone the pregnancy as far as possible, and therefore she hold uh, the pregnancy for 100 years. And these are 100 years, right? The years of the demigods. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that the great sage Sri Maitreya is explaining to Vidura the activities of the demigods, including Brahma. And Diti, naturally, she is devoted to Lord Vishnu, and she was very pained to hear that her sons would be cause of great disturbance to devotees of the Lord Vishnu, known as demigods. So there is a verse which says that Asurastat Viparyeha. So devatas are those who are in sync with the plan of the Lord, and Asura are just opposite. And the sons that those are going to be born to Diti, they were very, very demoniac, and they will be troubling the demigods in big way. And therefore, she wanted to postpone the birth. She was reluctant to give the birth for a long time, and thus she waited for 100 years. So that at least for that time, demigods would be saved from the disturbance from these two sons. Text 2. Loke tena hata loke lokapala hataujasaha nevedan visruje dhanto vyatikaram disham. Translation.
Translation: by the force of the pregnancy of Diti, the light of the sun and moon was impaired in all the planets, and the demigods of various planets, being disturbed by that force, asked the creator of the universe, Brahma, what is this expansion of darkness in all directions? Purport: it appears from this verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam that the sun is the source of light for all planets in the universe. The modern scientific theory, which states that there are many suns in each universe, is not supported by this verse. It is understood that in each universe there is only one sun which supplies light to all the planets. In Bhagavad Gita, the moon is also stated to be one of the stars. There are many stars, and when we see them glittering at night, we can understand that they are reflectors of light. Just as moonlight is a reflection of sunlight, other planets also reflect sunlight, and there are many other planets which cannot be seen by our naked eye. The demonic influence of the suns in the womb of Diti expanded darkness throughout the universe. Hare Krishna.
By the force of the pregnancy of Diti, because she's previous verse it says that Dadhara Varshanishatam. Previous verse it says that she bore the very powerful semen of Kashyapa Muni, and therefore, by the force of Tat Tejasaha, Prajapatya to Tat Tejaha. So this is by the power of the pregnancy of Diti, the light of the sun and moon appeared to be dimmed. And suddenly, demigods on the various planets, being disturbed by that force, began to inquire from Brahmaji. And this is how the Brahma demigods are going to praise Brahma. And Brahmaji is going to narrate what's happening in the Vaikuṇṭha and how these two personalities, Jaya and Vijaya, they are falling in the material world. And this is how the whole Utpat is being happening. They asked Brahmaji, what is the expansions? What is this expansion of darkness in all the directions? What's happening? In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that from this verse of Bhagavatam, it seems that there is the sun is the source of all the light for all the planets within the universe, right? So there is a completely different paradigm when it comes to explaining the universe. And that paradigm did match at the point of when there is Chandra Grahan, Surya Grahan, and then major constellations or major changes in the in the constellation, that point did confirm with modern science. It is simply, another way of looking at it, or another way to say this, that modern science is yet to reach that understanding. Right? We have seen this very elaborately in the previous times. So here Prabhupada says, the modern scientific theory says that there are many, many suns in each universe. But the Vedic understanding is that there is only one sun in each universe. And the sun is the cause of the light for all other stars and planets. And here moon is also considered as one of the stars. Nakshatranam aham shashi. So the sun has the independent light, and similarly the moon has the independent light. And Bhagavad Gita says this, Nakshatranam, among the star, aham, Lord says, aham shashi. So this we will see more elaborately when we come to the 5th canto. And there is a description of the universe. And there we will see this more elaborately. So the demoniac influence of the sons of Diti was so strong that before the birth, it was the darkness all across the universe. And the demigods became naturally very worried, who are supposed to conduct the affairs of the universe, and they approached Brahmaji. Deva urchuhu tame etat vibho vetha samvigna yadbhayam vrisham nahi avyaktam bhagavata kalena sprishtavartmanah. Translation.
The fortunate demigod said, O great one, just see this darkness, which you know very well and is causing us anxieties. Because the influence of time cannot touch you, there is nothing unmanifest before you. Purport: Brahma is addressed herein as Vibhu and as the personality of Godhead. He is the supreme personality of Godhead's incarnation of the mode of passion in the material world. He is non-different and is the representative sense from the personality of Godhead, and therefore the influence of time cannot affect him. The influence of time, which manifests as past, present, and future, cannot touch higher personalities like Brahma and other demigods. Sometimes demigods and great sages who have attained such perfection are called Trikala Yagya. Hare Krishna.
So demigods, they approached Brahmaji and they said, O Vibhu, O Bhagavatah, O extremely powerful one, just see the all expanding darkness all around. What is the cause? We are in great anxiety to see this all expanding darkness around, because the influence of time cannot touch you. Kalena asprishtat vartmanah. Therefore, nothing is unmanifest before you. Nahi abhyaktam. Please explain to us why there is so much of darkness which is expanding all across the universe. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains Brahmaji is addressed here by two words, Vibhu and Bhagavatah. Why Bhagavatah? Because he is also in a way Gunavatar, non-different than the Supreme Lord for the mode of passion, who is in charge of the mode of passion. And he is not influenced by time. When somebody is influenced by time, automatically he comes under the time domain, and therefore for him there is something past, present, and future. But there are great personalities who are not influenced by time. And these personalities are called as Trikalagya because they are beyond time. Text 4. Deva Deva Jagadhatar Lokanath Shikhamane Paresham Paresham Tvam Bhutanam Asibhavavet. Translation.
O God of the demigods, sustainer of the universe, head jewel of all the demigods in other planets, you know the intentions of all living entities in both the spiritual and material worlds. Purport: because Brahma is almost on an equal footing with the personality of Godhead, he is addressed here as the God of the demigods, and because he is the secondary creator of this universe, he is addressed as the sustainer of the universe. He is the head of all the demigods, and therefore he is addressed here as the head jewel of the demigods. It is not difficult for him to understand everything which is happening in both the spiritual and material worlds. He knows everyone's heart and everyone's intentions. Therefore, he was requested to explain this incident. Why was the pregnancy of Diti causing such anxieties all over the universe?
Deva Deva. They began to address Brahmaji. O God of the gods, Deva Deva. Jagat Dhatar. Jagat Dhatar is, Dhata is the sustainer. So Jagat Dhata, your Lokanath Shikhamane, the head jewel of all the demigods of all other planets. Beautiful explanation. Paresham, Aparesham. You know the material world and the spiritual world very well. And amongst the living entities, you can know their intentions. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, being Gunavatar, Lord Brahmaji is almost on the equal footing as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But again, Brahmaji and Lord Shiva, they are not to be misunderstood as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are almost God, but not the Supreme Lord. Right. So, this is very important. And he is also called as a Deva Deva because he is the head of the demigods. He is Jagat Dhata, and he's also the head jewel of the demigods, Lokanatha Shikhamane. Very beautiful words, right? He knows everyone's heart and everyone's intentions. This is something very, very powerful. Generally, he will know everyone's heart and everybody's intentions. And this is specifically addressed to the Supreme Lord. Here, demigods are also extending that to Brahmaji and saying that, my dear Brahmaji, why then Diti's pregnancy is causing such a great panic all across the universe? I mean, look at the scale it is, right? Text 5. Namo Vijnana Viryaya Mayedam Upeyushe Gruhita Gunabhedaya Namaste Vyaktayonaye. Translation.
O original source of strength and scientific knowledge, all obeisances unto you. You have accepted the differentiated mode of passion from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. With the help of external energy, you are born of the unmanifested source. All obeisances unto you. Purport. The Vedas are the original scientific knowledge for all departments of understanding. And this knowledge of the Vedas was first impregnated into the heart of Brahma by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, Brahma is the original source of all scientific knowledge. He is born directly from the transcendental body of Garbhodakshai Viṣṇu, who is never seen by any creature of this material universe and therefore always remains unmanifested. Brahma is stated here to be born of the unmanifested. He is the incarnation of the modes of passion in material nature, which is the separated external energy of the Supreme Lord.
Further, the demigods, they are glorifying Namo Vijnana Viryaya, O original source of the strength and the scientific knowledge. Vijnana Viryaya. Mayaya, by the external energy, Idam Upeshaye, having obtained. Avyakta Yonaye. Another beautiful verse here is Avyakta Yonaye. You are born of Avyakta, the unmanifested source. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, Veda literally means knowledge, with, to know. Veda means knowledge. And because it is knowledge, Vedas will talk on large variety of subject matter. Right? Vedas will describe right from Dhanur Veda, Ayurveda, to Arthashastra, Murti Shastra, to Kama Sutra. Everything is part of the Veda. So Vedas are supposed to contain 1 lakh verses. So 1 lakh, 10 lakh, 1000 lakh, 10,000 lakh, 1 lakh verses of the Vedas. Because they are the original scientific knowledge coming from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the breathing of the Supreme Lord, which is manifested in the heart of Brahmaji. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kavaye. So this is manifested in the heart of Brahmaji, and therefore Brahmaji is the source of all scientific knowledge, because the scientific knowledge, prakata, becomes manifest through the mouth of Brahmaji. Although the scientific knowledge becomes manifest through the mouth of Brahma, Lord Brahma comes from the unmanifest. So here, what is the meaning of Avyakta Yonaye? Avyakta Yonaye means he is the son of unmanifested. And who is his son of? Brahmaji here is born of he's a Swayambhu. He's born directly from the transcendental body of Garbhodakshai Viṣṇu. And Garbhodakshai Viṣṇu is never seen by any creature of the material universe. Even when the demigods go, they will stand on the shore of the Garbhodak ocean, and then there is prayers being sent. It is not that the Supreme Lord directly appears and gives them instruction. No, the Lord appears in the heart of Brahmaji, gives the instructions, and then instruction is transmitted to all other demigods. So it is very, very rare to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Garbhodakshai Viṣṇu, and therefore is called as Avyakta. And because Brahmaji is born from the Garbhodakshai Viṣṇu, the beautiful name of Brahmaji here is Avyakta Yonaye. Many times this is misunderstood to be he has Nirakar, he has become Sakar and all that. No, nothing like that. Avyakta Yonaye here directly refers to he is the son of Garbhodakshai Viṣṇu. Text 6. ये त्वानन्यभावेन भावयन्त्यात्मभावनम् आत्मनि प्रोतभुवनं परं सदात्मकम्. Translation.
O Lord, all these planets exist within yourself, and all the living entities are generated from you. Therefore, you are the cause of this universe, and anyone who meditates upon you without deviation attains devotional service.
Further they are praying, oh Lord. Look at the translation. There is a L small. Okay. So here the Lord is, L is small there because Brahmaji is a demigod. All these planets exist within yourself. And the living entities are generated from you. You are the Adi Prajapati. And therefore, you are the cause of the universe. Right? Everyone who meditates upon you will attain devotional service because you are Adi Guru, you are Swayambhu, you are Mahajan, and you are the primary Acharya. And because you are a great Vaishnava, automatically anybody who takes your association by meditating on you, there will be without deviation. Why without deviation? Because they are not desiring anything. As soon as we desire something, that desire will make that we are not praying to the Vaishnava Brahmaji, we are praying to demigod Brahma. Right? So there are demons who are desiring something from Brahmaji, then they are praying to demigod. And there are devotees who are praying to Brahma for pure devotional service, then they are praying to Vaishnava Brahma. Okay. Brahmaji is same only. But which aspect of Brahmaji you are referring to, that is very important. Text 7. तेषां सुपक्वयोगानां जितश्वासेन्द्रियात्मनां लब्धयुष्मत्प्रसादानां न कश्चित् तत्परा भव. Translation.
There is no defeat in this material world for persons who control the mind and senses by controlling breathing process and who are therefore experienced, mature mystics. This is because by such perfection in yoga, they have attained your mercy. Purport. The purpose of yogic performances is explained here. It is said that an experienced mystic attains full control of the senses and the mind by controlling the breathing process. Therefore, controlling the breathing process is not the ultimate aim of yoga. The real purpose of yogic performances is to control the mind and the senses. Anyone who has such control is to be understood to be an experienced, mature, mystic yogi. It is indicated herein that a yogi who has control over the mind and senses has the actual benediction of the Lord, and he has no fear. In other words, one cannot attain the mercy and benediction of the Supreme Lord until one is able to control the mind and the senses. This is actually possible when one fully engages in Krishna consciousness. A person whose senses and mind are always engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord has no possibility of engaging in material activities. The devotees of the Lord are not defeated anywhere in the universe. It is stated, Nārāyaṇa para sarve, one who is Nārāyana para, or a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is not afraid anywhere, whether he is sent to hell or promoted to heaven. Bhagavatam 6.17.28.
The demigods pray, There is no defeat in this material world for the persons who controlled mind and senses by controlling the breathing process. And thus, therefore, these are the experienced, mature mystics. This is because such perfection in yoga, they have attained your mercy. The purport Srila Prabhupada says that the purpose of the yogic performance is explained here. What is the purpose of the yogic performance? The purpose of yogic performance is to control mind and senses by practicing the breathing process, pranayama. But breathing process itself or controlling mind and senses in itself, they are not the end conclusion. They are just the means to attain the end conclusion of performing devotional service to the Supreme God. And therefore, we see that Ashta, there is these 8 limbs, Ashtanga Yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, and beyond that also it goes. Then there is a Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi, right? Other things are also there. So, purpose of breathing, controlling the breath is to control mind and senses, and the controlled mind and the controlled senses, they have to be engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord. Irony with the mystic yogis, what happens is that by the virtue of controlling mind and senses, they will attain tremendous powers, and that powers will delude them for some material appreciation, material name and fame, and thus they will be detoured from the path of pure Krishna consciousness. Right. So here Prabhupada says, such a personality. So this is very important. To control the mind, the breath is very important. And that's why it is said that, when we breathe in and breathe out in a controlled way, the thought processes are controlled actually by the breathing process. Here, it's something very important. Therefore, even Rupa Goswami, in one place, he writes about a devotee should do pranayam before chanting Hare Krishna. A little bit of pranayam. So that, the breath is controlled. With the breath, mind is controlled, senses are controlled. And this controlled mind and senses, one can engage in Krishna's service. Savai mana Krishna padaravindayor. But breath is very important. Okay, so breath control. Devotees attain mind control and the sense control by not this mechanical process, but by the devotional process of engaging the senses in the service of the Lord. Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. And by this kind of a control, Prabhupada writes previously in some of the previous purport, is far more powerful than the mechanical method of pranayam control. And then Prabhupada gives the example of the mechanical controller, Durvasa, was completely defeated by the devotional controller, Ambarish Maharaj, although he was living in the family life, had wife and children, and he was a king engaged in so many of the civil activities. Right. Further, Prabhupada says, such a devotee of the Lord has nothing to fear. Nārāyaṇa parasarve na kutaschana bibhyati swarga apavarga narakeshu api tulyartha darshanam. Such devotees of the Lord who have controlled their mind and senses by direct engagement in devotional service, they have nothing to fear across the universe. So this is how very beautifully demigods are praying to Brahmaji. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Krishna.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhu, just small clarification. I mean, like we have seen in olden days movies also that these kind of things, when Diti was having pregnancy, it was like darkness was spreading everywhere. But Prabhupada also writes sometimes there is nothing called darkness; it's only absence of light in some other places. So how do we understand that this is expansion of darkness?
No. See, the absence of dark, there is nothing called as a darkness. There is absence of light. Is written in a different context. It is written in the context that there is no void. Everything is full. There is nothing called as a darkness. It's absence of life. There is nothing called as adharma. It is absence of dharma. Automatically becomes adharma. So that is the context, right? So whenever we read the statement of Srila Prabhupada, the statement has to be read with the context. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada writes the very, very first verses of first chapter. Prabhupada says, this kind of Arjuna's compassion one can see because he is a great devotee of the Lord. And as a devotee, naturally one is very compassionate. Couple of shlokas later, Prabhupada writes, this compassion in the Arjuna is simply the display of his material affection to his family members and shows the weakness of the heart. And we'll say, same Arjuna's compassion is described in one way 2 shlokas back, and in some another way, in another completely opposite way. So it is both, right? So it has to be seen always. The Vedas always, they have to be seen contextually. What is the context in which it is being spoken of? Like somebody can pick up some of these verses out of context and say, oh, Brahmaji only the supreme personality of Godhead because devatas are praying like that. Correct. But that is not the case. Brahmaji himself has clarified to Narada Muni, and there is a huge discussion, descriptions, and everything else. So the context is very important in the Vedic knowledge, right?
Yeah. Okay, Prabhu. Yeah. So it's basically we
Thank you,
understand that the
Prabhupada.
influence is
Yeah.
spreading everywhere of Diti's womb.
Yeah. So what happened is momentarily, the things started becoming very, very dark. This will come later also. This will be more vividly described when there is a birth of Hiranyakashipu. You know that how the deities were crying, the demigod deities in the temple, they were crying tears, and how there was what was the situation actually when the birth was taking place. So these are momentary phenomena that Muhurta, it was happening like this. And therefore demigods were worried that such a large scale darkness they are seeing, that darkness remained momentarily only, but still it was there, and they were asking what is the cause, right?
Yeah, Prabhu. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare